Marketing Conference, Spa Marketing Fundamentals, Insider Secrets to Skyrocket Your Revenue. Now, first of all, I reckon your spa is these things probably at the moment. You know it costs a lot to run, specifically if you have kind of thermal facilities. It kind of seems a bit complicated and a bit fluffy sounding when you compare it next to, say, selling rooms or selling food and beverage tables and things like that. Also, can often feel like it's hard work to sell. There's so many moving parts in it, and it's kind of difficult to get a hold of exactly what that is. That's what I want to help you with today as well. And more than likely, you're kind of frustrated because the spa just doesn't seem to make enough money on its own, which is probably why you're watching this presentation. Instead, wouldn't it be great if, your spa is going to cost a lot of money? There's not a lot I can do about that, especially if you've got the thermal facilities. But what about if when those bills came through, you were just happy to sign them off because it kind of ran itself, it contributed to everything else. It was simple and straightforward in terms of how you actually market the thing and how you sell it to both your clients and other people as well. It effortlessly sold itself. That'd be good. If it actually had its own message to put out there and it sold itself to your clients, it made more money. And not only that, it made more money for the entire business because it added to your room and food and beverage revenue as well. That is what I want to kind of help you achieve in this presentation. Now, when I was putting together this presentation, I spoke to a number of spa managers, spa directors, people like that. And the one thing overwhelmingly that they wanted to get across was that selling spa services is not like selling hotel rooms or restaurant tables or things like that. Not to say that one is better or more complicated or whatever. It's just, it is different. However, the good news is that 59%, this is according to a recent study, 59% of affluent and high net worth individuals say that a spa is either important or essential when they're making a decision about booking a hotel room. So the point of that is it will increase all your revenue once you get the marketing and the message and everything and the offer, particularly around your spa, right and aligned with the kind of people who come into your hotel. So when I was asked to do this presentation, and I thought, well, I want to really do this on fundamentals because a lot of the talks that you already are going to today or the day of the conference that you can now see online, they're around kind of very much strategies and tactics and tools you can use. So there was a lot of talk about AI, and there was a lot of talk about obviously social media and the different platforms that you can use. But all of those tools become less effective if you don't have the core fundamentals of your spa marketing in place in the first place. So, what I want to do today is I want to, first of all, help you make it easier to sell your spa to your clients and have it so that it actually brings more clients in. Then I want to show you how to fairly simply sell more of it. And then just to make sure I've kind of covered everything within those two areas, I then want to answer any questions that you have. Let me get rid of that message. So that's what I want to do. So how should we start? First of all, I just want to give you a quick heads up. First of all, caution. This man, i.e. me, has zero marketing qualifications. Okay, I have no official marketing qualifications. In fact, when I talk to my clients about what I do, I don't really talk about marketing. I prefer to think about what I do in terms of getting more clients, helping you keep them longer and making more money, which I know is very much kind of the function of marketing, but that's how I kind of explain things. But just so you know that I am actually worth spending a few minutes listening to, I have been helping spas and salons and clinics generate more revenue for over 22 years. In that time, I've worked personally one-on-one with around 475 spas, spanning 27 different countries. I haven't kept exact count, but around around 2/3 of those were brand new operations. Only one of those, to my knowledge, is no longer in operation. And that was a beach hotel spa in Dubai, which they knocked down to build an even bigger one. So it obviously went so well, they wanted to expand on that as well. So I have an incredibly good success record with profitability and those kind of things. And I always like to include one little stat in there that's sort of a bit interesting. And at one point I did create, at the time, the world's most expensive massage. I was also the chair of the UK Spa Association from 2019 to 2023. I've been on the board of the Spa Association for 8 years, but 4 years spent as chairman. And nowadays, I am the host of the Top 10 Apple podcast, one of the number one podcasts in the beauty industry, the Beauty Business Podcast. And I earn my keep as a beauty industry business strategist and consultant. So here's the question that I want to start with. What is a spa? Now, again, because I said I've been around for many, many years, I remember 15, 20 years ago, sitting on various panels with Visit Britain or whatever it was kind of called back then to discuss what a spa was, to try and come up with some sort of classification of what a spa should be called. And if you weren't aware, the word spa comes from solus per aqua, okay, SPA. That's where the word spa comes from. It's a Roman, it's obviously in Latin. If you haven't been keeping up with your Latin, it means health through water. So there's a big push at some point for all spas to have some sort of water component to them. However, that became very, very difficult to police and manage. And that's kind of what brings us to the problem of today, because there are so many different definitions of spa. Spas mean so many different things to different people that when you just simply mention that you have a spa as part of your hotel, that can mean a whole bunch of different things. It can mean that you simply have manicure stations. It can mean that you have treatment rooms. It can mean you have proper thermal facilities. It can mean you have pools, beauty therapy, sauna, hot tubs, yoga, ice bath, orthos, wellness, gym. All these different things can be associated with or defined by the word spa. So the first thing I want to do is I want to help you get really, really clear on what exactly it is that you offer as your spa within your hotel and your operation. So this is such a fundamental piece of what I work on with my clients because it's so easily overlooked by so many people. So we really dive deep on this for a number of reasons. One, it helps clarify what you actually do. But two, once you really get clear on your offer, the messaging, the marketing, the clients, the everything about your spa operation just becomes a lot more frictionless, a lot more easy, a lot more simple and straightforward, which is one of the things we identified at the beginning. So when it comes to offer, when I work with people, there are four key components to this: your who, your what, your price, and your how. And those are things I want to go through with you just quickly now. So first of all, when it comes to your who and your what, because you're marketing professionals, this is going to be immediately familiar to you, but there may be a couple of other aspects that you haven't considered before. So first of all, when it comes to your hotel guest, your who is very much going to be involving their demographics, their psychographics, their interests, their reasons for staying, their priorities. But some of the key things, and obviously the most important things when it comes to a spa, is their frustrations and their fears. What is their reason behind going to a spa? Because nobody actually goes to the spa for the treatments themselves. And this seems like a weird concept for a lot of people to get their heads around. But people go to a spa for what's on the other side of those treatments. Okay. What does the facial do for them? What does the massage do for them if there are indeed treatments involved? What do those treatments, even if it's the bathing or the thermal pools, what do they get on the other side of that? What are they getting from it? Because that's why they're coming to you. So if you can really dive in on the frustrations, which are the now problems that your clients are having, and the fears, which tend to be the things that they worry will happen if they don't deal with the problems that they have now, and then the wants, which is what they want instead of the frustrations, and then the hopes, which is what they possibly hope might happen when they solve the problem that they have, for which your spa might be the answer. Those are some of the really key things that are going to help you get very, very clear on the messaging and therefore the marketing that you put out there. But your life gets a bit more difficult because you've not just got your hotel guests, you've got potentially day guests as well if you have day guests coming to your spa. Now, again, you're going to have to look at the same things: demographics, psychographics, interests, reasons for visiting, their priorities, frustrations, fears, hopes, and wants. However, they may be slightly different for your day guest than they are from the people who are already staying in your hotel or that your hotel is attracting. So you may need to look at those two very distinct different types of people. And then you may have even a third. If you have local residents or members that you want to attract to your spa to help keep the revenue flowing in kind of seasonal times, then you're going to have to look at those reasons for them. Not only the reasons for visiting, but the reasons that they should keep coming back as well. So this is a key part of the who side of things. Now, because this concept, when I'm working with spa managers, spa owners, people like that, because this concept can seem a bit theoretical, one of the things, the visualizations that I try to do is I try to get them to picture their client standing on the edge of a cliff, or standing on the edge of a cliff facing another cliff with a big crevice in the middle. Think Grand Canyon. Okay, so they're standing on one side of the Grand Canyon. Now, where they are at the moment on the Grand Canyon, they have the frustrations and fears that they have now. So they have the problems that they're struggling with, the frustrations they want to get rid of, and the fears that they worry might happen if they don't solve their problems. And on the other side are the wants and the hopes, what they want to get to. So where they want to be relaxed, energized, reinvigorated, feel younger, all the different things that your spa might help them offer. And obviously their hopes as well. And we simply want to position your spa, your offering, as the bridge that takes them from one side to the other. So that's how I kind of often help spa owners visualize this or managers visualize this. So hopefully you can take this maybe back to your spas and work with your spa team to actually build those frustrations and fears of your clients and the wants and hopes instead, which will help you with the actual messaging that you want to put out there. And indeed, this is such a vital part of what I do with people. We have a whole worksheet for this. If you ever work with me at any period of time, you'll find I'm a big fan of a one-page worksheet, something we've really lent into recently. My feeling is if you have a thing you want to communicate or a plan you want to make, if you can't fit it on a single page of A4, it's already too complicated. So we use a lot of these one-page worksheets. And we have this exercise, we call it crossing the chasm. And literally on one side of the page, down the left-hand side there, we list the frustrations and the problems of our clients now. And then we also delve into some of their future fears. And then on the other side, we list the wants and the promises and the things that the clients want to achieve from coming to us, and also their hopes as well. And as a kind of pro tip here, if you can use the language that your clients actually use in their own heads to describe these frustrations and problems, then you're already developing the emails and the social media posts and the adverts and the marketing that you're putting out there in terms of the messaging to attract the attention of the people you actually want to attract. So, that's kind of the first part, the who and the what. That's the who, if you like. Then the what comes into, well, what is the thing that they actually want to achieve from coming to your spa? So in this case, again, we're looking at the hotel guest. Is it that they want to relax? Is it that they want to recover? Do they want to get energized? Do they want to work out? Do they just want to come for the social side of things, which is obviously a big part of spa now? Do they come to you because of status? You know, that's a genuine consideration. Are they coming to you because of status? They've seen an influencer go there, or there's a certain kudos that comes with going to your spa, something like that. Do they want to come for a detox? And let's face it, people like to go to a spa and have a glass of champagne. So do they want to come and drink? So what are those things that they're looking for to get? And again, yes, you have to look at this for both your hotel guest and potentially your day guest, and also your local residents as well. There's going to be some overlap, but you need to understand those three distinct types of client, both from a who and a what level, to make sure you're messaging to attract those people, those specific people, even if there's three different ones of them, is actually kind of on point. Now, once you understand your who and your what, so many things kind of fall into place because it will help you dictate what services and treatments you actually offer. And I don't mean go ahead and start adding more treatments and services. More often than not, when I work with a client, it's about removing treatments and services from the treatment menu. So the very first thing I do is I go in, we usually do a pricing analysis, which is kind of outside of the scope of this presentation. But we go in and we look at what treatments and services we can actually remove to simplify the entire offer, because that way we can get really focused on your type of client, your who and what it is that they want. So we're not kind of confusing them with all the other treatments that we offer. We're very, very much laser focused in on that person and only the treatments that are going to get them the results that they want. So it's more about trimming away the treatments that shouldn't be on your list than it is about adding them. However, occasionally it might mean making sure you've got some additional treatments on there that really cater for those people. It may also mean looking at your brands. Are the brands that you're using in your spa actually lining up with the who and the what that you're wanting to attract to your spa? Again, I'm not going to say go and throw out all your brands, but just really make sure that the brands you're using or the products from within those brands actually align with your who and your what you're actually trying to offer. It very much creates and defines the messaging that you're using in your social media, in your emails, in all of the stuff you're putting out there in order to connect with and attract the people that you want coming to your spa. It literally forms those messages. Same thing if you're doing ads. You can use the frustrations and the wants and the hopes and the fears in the language of your client to actually create the ad that you want to put out there again to attract the people. It can also help you with the keywords for your website or anything else that you put out there, and obviously help you with the SEO for your website as well to make sure, again, it's attracting the right people. Now, The next component of your offer is your price. And I 100% believe that your price dictates your client and not the other way around. Now, when it comes to a hotel spa, you've got a number of different options at your disposal for pricing. And I tend to find when I'm working with kind of more corporate or hotel based spas, they have a slightly better handle on what to charge for their treatments. However, it's never always perfect. So there's a number of different components you can employ. You've got dynamic pricing. Obviously, as you start to run out of supply within your spa, you can flex that price, just like you do with your hotel rooms, just like you do potentially with food and beverage. Someone mentioned in a talk at the conference actually that once they get down to a limited number of parking spaces within their hotel, they actually flex the overnight parking rates to make sure they're maximizing those, which I've never heard of before, but a perfect idea, an example of this. So as your spa gets busier, say on a busy period of time, you could actually flex your prices then, or just flex them based on the time of year as you know they're going to get more popular. You've also got tiered pricing. If you have a member of staff who happens to be the foremost Reiki healing master guru in your area, you could actually charge a slightly different amount for that therapist or that practitioner performing a treatment than one of your other therapists performing that particular treatment. So you can employ tiered pricing based on staff, based on type of client, all sorts of different things. You've got loads to play with. Package pricing is something that you should absolutely be familiar with. Obviously, building in certain spa elements, treatments, things like that within a hotel stay to create a package that has a higher overall value and therefore price than those individual things alone. Member VIP pricing, if you have members within your spa, again, this could be linked to the local resident side of things, but you get to have member pricing that could be higher or lower depending on the value that they're getting. But the thing I want to talk to you about is something called value-based pricing, which is something that can kind of elevate your spa to a much higher level. It's the only way to maximize the revenue that you're generating through your spa based on the price that you're charging. And if you get it right, it affects all of these other things above and makes them even more powerful so that they're actually making you more money overall. So, value based pricing is something that I bang on about a lot. And it's something often, and when I asked in the room, when I was actually giving this presentation on the day in the conference, I asked in the room how many people had heard of value based pricing, and a few hands went up. And then I asked how many people could explain value based pricing. And I think all but one hand. All but one hand went down. So it's one of these things that I talked about a lot, but very much still not understood. So the best explanation of value-based pricing from a practical point of view that I've ever seen is using this equation here. Now, this is what I've talked about for years. However, I've never seen it as elegantly as displayed as in this equation. So I want to take you through it very, very quickly. So value in this context on the left-hand side there is, you can think about that as the price you can charge for anything really, but in this context, we're talking about your spa services. So we're talking about the value or the price you can charge. Now, this is a function of, and this is the top line of a division equation, if you can think back to maths, but a very simple one, don't worry. So the very first component of this is dream outcome. So we've already defined this because this is very much the want, potentially the hope that your client has. So the dream outcome is their want. What do they want to achieve potentially, or how do they want to feel, or what state do they want to be in, or what do they want to have happen from coming to your spa? Okay, so that's the dream outcome multiplied by the perceived likelihood that that's going to happen. So if you can very much display the fact that you understand what they want to achieve by coming to your spa, and then all of the language around that, helping them trust and understand that they are very likely to get that because you have a process, because of the things you offer, because you've helped people relax or rejuvenate or recover or detox or whatever the thing is that your spa is focused on, because you've helped lots of people do that before, you want to focus on increasing their perception of the likelihood that they're going to get their dream outcome if they come to you. Now, because this is a top line of the equation, you want to focus your efforts both operationally and from a marketing point of view as much as possible as increasing those. So show that you understand that what their dream outcome is, increase the perceived likelihood to them or their perception of how likely it is that they're going to feel that way or have that dream outcome. The more you can increase that, the bigger that number is, then the higher the value. Now, that's where most people focus their attention. But the really cool, the really stealth move is on the bottom line of this equation. Because if you think of it, the bottom line of equation, the smaller you can make the number by which you divide that top line, again, the bigger the value you get. So I hope I'm not delving too much into the terrible world of GCSE maths here. But basically, on the bottom line is time, and time in terms of a delay, because obviously a lot of people want to spend more time in your spa, but it's time in terms of delay. How much effort are they going to have to put in? How long are they going to have to wait? Is there going to be a lot of waiting around, or are they going to enjoy the time that they spend prior to actually experiencing the result that they want to achieve through your spa? So time delay multiplied by the effort and the sacrifice that they have to go through. So how much effort do they have to put in your spa in order to achieve their dream outcome, and which is affected by the perceived likelihood? So how can we minimize that bottom line? How can we make the time and the delay and the sacrifice and the effort seem as small as possible? Again, through operations, and also through your marketing. Because the smaller we can make that, the bigger the value becomes. Because if you can reduce that bottom line down to effectively zero, then the top line, and then any number at the top divided by zero, the value becomes infinite. So that's your goal. It's never going to happen. But the smaller you can make the bottom line, the bigger you can make the bottom line, the higher the value in your business. Okay. Hope that makes sense. It's a very whistle top explanation of that. How do you actually do this? Okay. So there's a number of ways to do this. We like to do it this way. First of all, in order to explain to your client how you're going to help them get their dream outcome, so this affects the perceived likelihood, and it also affects the time and the effort and sacrifice, you want to explain how you're going to help them get that step by step. And I don't mean, and this is the mistake so many spas make within hotels, is the explanation of the treatments within your price list or on your website is so focused on what happens in the actual treatment that people don't understand and people don't get, that it's almost puts them off having it. Instead, if you talk about what they want to achieve and a simple step-by-step logical process that makes sense to them, still that they want, but isn't involved with, the Himalayan rain shower that you just had installed because they don't really know what that does, but instead it's talked about in a more emotive way based on the language that you know your clients use, that's going to help them kind of visualize how they're going to get from this side of the chasm to this side of the chasm, so that they can already see that actually happening. You need to use easy to understand language, easy to understand phrases, easy to understand processes, so that they can actually visualize themselves moving from one side to the other. The more you can lean into a signature solution for this, the better. I don't mean you have to go and create your own entire treatment modality. What I mean here is you simply need to talk about your services in a way that isn't the same as everyone else. So if your treatment menu looks like hot stones massage, Swedish massage, express facial, luxury facial, bespoke facial, everyone calls their stuff those things. So if you're doing that same thing, then all your clients are going to do is they're going to make an assumption based on your treatments, based on something that they've heard about elsewhere. Or worse, they're going to look at a treatment that you have that's named exactly the same thing as something somewhere else. And the only thing that they can then make a decision on is based on price. So instead, call your things different stuff. Give them different names, not too wild and wacky. Make sure people can still understand what they're going to get, but give them different names and then explain what happens in those treatments in a different way to everyone else, so that they can't easily be compared. Because when you do that, you're no longer selling just treatments, you're selling the outcome. You're selling that dream outcome, which is what people want and they'll pay a lot more money for. And then you start to get into the world of what we call decommoditization, where you cannot be as easily compared with another spa or with another hotel or with treatments at another spa hotel, because you are offering something entirely different to everyone else. Now, I went to a presentation a couple of years ago, and there was a talk by I think it was the CEO of Jet2, jet2.com, the airline. And he said this really interesting thing that has always stuck with me. He said, we're an airplane company, we're a flight company, okay? But whenever we put an advert together, you'll never see a picture of the plane, because people, as they've done the market research, they've realized that when they show people the plane, people think of all of the awkwardness that comes with getting on a plane. You've got to get to the airport early. You've got to find somewhere for to park your car, which is probably expensive. You then got to get the luggage from the car to the airport. You've then got to check in. You've got to wait for security. It's probably a problem there. You've got to unpack your bags. You've got to get through there. You've got to rush to the gate. All of the negative things involved with getting on a plane. So instead, in their adverts, all you'll ever see is people rushing onto the beach with this beautiful sea because they're on holiday, people sipping the drink in an evening in beautiful weather because they're on holiday and they're relaxing and they're feeling good and all these things. So that he said, always sell the holiday, not the plane flight. And I think that resonates with us a lot because we need to sell the outcome, the result, the feeling, the thing that the client actually wants, and not the details of what's going to happen in the treatment because they're irrelevant. They're not important to the client and they don't understand them anyway. So let's sell the holiday and not the plane flight. So that is how we put together an offer. We really focus on the who, the what, we get the price right in terms of value pricing, and the how in terms of a method that they can actually understand. Because when you do that, you've nailed your offer, it becomes easier to sell that offer. So that's kind of point number one, hopefully achieved. Sorry, I should have been on that slide there. So the who, the what, the price, and the how. Once you nail the offer, it all becomes easier to sell. Now, second part, I want to help you sell more of it. And we tend to keep things simple around here. Again, that's something I'm quite well known for, is just really kind of pulling things down to the simplistic form. And the easiest way to sell more of it is to tell more people. Now, that as marketeers is not going to be rocket science for you, but I want to do a quick overview, a quick reminder for you of how you can actually do that within a spa based in a hotel. So, quickly want to cover the four ways of telling people what you do, what you have to sell, how you can help them. So, as a business, as an organization, you actually only know two different types of people. You know your contacts, the people who you have contact information for, and strangers, people you don't have contact information for. And then when it comes to communicating with them, you can either communicate with them one to one, you can pick up the phone and you can actually call those people one at a time, or you can communicate in a one-to-many fashion. And there's a lot of technology out there that helps us do this, a lot of which was talked about at the event. So an example of one-to-one to your contacts will be, say, warm outreach. So it could be, like I said, picking up the phone. It could be sending individual emails. It could be sending a letter. It could be sending a postcard to people. An example of how to communicate with strangers one-to-one could be cold outreach. It could be cold phoning them. It could be, cold calling them. It could be just sending letters out to a whole postcode area that you know may contain people for your clients. I've never found that works very well for spa. So that's not something I'm going to recommend. However, it needs to be on this kind of four-way map so you understand the different options. Now, an example of one-to-many obviously is posting content in your social media channels. It's sending out email blasts, SMS blasts, messenger blasts, putting out to your Facebook page, your Facebook group, any way that you can send one message and it reaches multiple people. Obviously, the more reliable ones are the things like text message, email, WhatsApp, because you have control over who actually receives those messages. Just going to disconnect that for a second. So you have control over who receives those messages. Social media is kind of the lesser of those, however, it does reach a number of people. And then finally, one-to-many in terms of strangers is running paid ads. So you can run paid ads, again, probably on Facebook, probably on Instagram. I'm sure there's lots of other LinkedIn, Google, all these different paid ads. But that's how you can actually target those strangers in a one-to-many fashion. These are your four ways. These are the four ways your business can communicate with people. Those are probably fairly straightforward, and I'm not teaching you anything there. However, I want to talk about their four ways, the sort of forgotten four ways that you can communicate and get your message out to more people. First of all, your customers. Your customers are a hugely valuable way of selling more or telling more people about what it is that you do. Again, when you get really clear on your who and your what, it becomes easier for your customers to tell more people about you because they know who you're actually looking for. They can immediately meet someone or think of one of their friends and know that they are right for you and you are right for them. So this is another function of getting really clear on your who and your what. Now, customers are so important, and a lot of businesses I know are very focused on getting reviews from their customers. That's kind of their number one way of having their customers bring in more clients. However, there's a problem with reviews because, first of all, you've got to get your customers to leave you a review, which is becoming harder and harder. Then you've got to get new potential customers to actually see those reviews. Plus, you may not be able to control whether those reviews are good or bad. People have always had a bad day. You're always going to have a client who's not had a great experience. Yes, I know most of your clients are going to have an amazing experience, but you're always going to have some. And those, annoyingly, tend to be the most vocal when it comes to leaving reviews on TripAdvisor and on Google and all those kind of things. Instead, what we do is we've systematized the process of getting referrals. So many businesses don't focus enough on actively getting referrals from their clients. Now, the way we've done this is we've created, depending on the day of the week, we've created something called either the VIP referral card or the personalized referral card. And essentially, what this is it's very much a business card size thing. However, it's not given out to everyone. We only give this out to our repeat recurring clients. And we do this again, like I said, we've systematized this. We do this first of all on their third visit. So the third time they come in, we've deemed them now a repeat client. And what we then do is we ask them, do you have someone you think would love to come and visit us? Do you know anyone who would benefit from coming to us, however the language is? But what you're doing is you're looking for them to think of a particular person. You're not just looking for them to go, yeah, you probably know some people. You're looking them to think of a particular person. Let's say that person, our mythical client here, is Jane. Okay, so they go, oh yeah, do you know what, Jane would love to come here. She's been saying she's feeling stressed or needs to relax or whatever. She'd love to come here. You can then go, wait there 1 second, I've got something for Jane. So you disappear off, and there is a little bit of theatre and psychology in this. You disappear off, you go and get this card. Now on the card is the best offer that you can put out there for someone in your spa. Now the reason you can afford to do this is because Jane is more likely to become a really good repeat client of your business or something like that, if they're a local resident or a day guest or something like that, because they're a contact of existing client who will call Marjorie. So they're a friend of Marjorie's, and therefore they're already much more likely to be a good client for you. So you can afford to offer them the best offer that you have to put out there. Ideally not a discount, ideally a value add. I'll leave that with you. But you've also got space on the card to write Jane's name. So you write Jane's name on there, and it has the details of the offer and how she takes it up and things. But because you've got your client to think of a particular person, when she sees Jane, she's much more likely to actually give them the card because it's kind of lodged in her brain. So she gives Jane the card. Because this card is therefore only available to your best clients, it's not something that's floating around there and everyone can have it. So it seems more special to Jane. So Jane is much more likely to bring it in and actually take up the offer. Then what you do is you obviously wow Jane with we have another process called Client for Life. I'm sure you've got something similar. You wow Jane with your service and everything. And then on Jane's third visit, you do the same thing again. And we do that every third visit with a client. And that way, constantly, we're always sending out into the world our strategic VIP referral cards that have a much higher proportion of coming back again, that have a much higher proportion of turning into really good high value clients. And that process keeps going around. But by systematizing that process and making sure it happens on a kind of a conveyor belt type cycle, we've always got our clients bringing us even more clients in again. Sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent there, but that's something that we do. So you've got customers, a super great way of getting more clients. Partners, okay, partners, business partners you have, suppliers, potentially influencers. You can get your partners to tell more people about you as well. Employees are a really underused facility, underused way of getting more clients into your business, because never before have your employees had such an ability to communicate with people. You may have an employee on your team that, unbeknownst to you, happens to be huge in the world of crafting online, and they've got a following of 35,000 people who follow, let's say, their Instagram. If they share something about working with you, something about your spa, something like that, that message can reach far more people than ever before from an employee in the history of time. So you can use your employees to get more people. And obviously you can hire agencies to get the word out for you as well. But the really forgotten thing is that all of these people can also use their 4 methods, or your 4 methods for them, to get the word out as well. So each one of them could use warm outreach. They're unlikely to do cold outreach for you. They could post content. They could run paid ads, depending on how well you incentivize them. But this is a way that you can exponentially get the word out to more people about what you do, because you now are so clear on who it is that you're looking for, what it is that you offer them. They can self-identify that. You just need to use these methods to get the word out to more people. So that is how I want to help you really get clear on your offer. And hopefully I've given you a framework to now go and sit with the spa people in your spa and get them to help you understand who comes to them, how they help them, what they achieve, so that you can actually create the marketing message to put out there. So hopefully I've given you that framework and made it easier to sell. Hopefully I've reminded you or given you some new options of how to tell more people about what you do in such a way based on your who and your what, so that it is easily connecting with the people that you want to get the message to. That way you'll sell more of it. Now, I did say I was going to answer your questions. Obviously, you can't ask me any questions. However, if you have any questions, I would love to answer them. If you click this, if I actually just, I'm going to have to move myself out of the way. I just realized because you won't be able to click on that. So I'll just move myself to here, maybe even further over there. No, I've had to put myself there. So if you click on this QR code here, you'll be able to link straight with me on LinkedIn. However, if you just want to connect with me on social, I'm at Beauty Business Secrets, I think on pretty much every social media platform. Or if you just want to send me a good old-fashioned email, I'm adam@beautybusinesssecrets.co. If you've got any questions about the presentation or anything else, please do message me. Other than that, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. Please do message me any questions. I hope it's been really helpful for you. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.